Okay, House of Payne fans, the show is finally back. Season 12, Episode 1, Like New Money. Now, going to say it up front. It was awkward as hell watching the episode Wednesday night because for whatever reason, possibly an editing error or something, I haven't really looked into why, it wasn't a laugh track in the episode, but it was painful to get through. Now, let me just say this much. Thankfully, I have found the episode online. People reposted it and stuff like that. And, other official websites did have the episode. And there was a laugh track. So, the reason I didn't do my review yesterday, because number one, I spent the entire day listing Pokemon cards on eBay. 885 cards. That's a new record for me in terms of how many I've listed at once. If you're interested in trading cards, free shipping on everything. Every single one is a 5-day auction, meaning that the auctions end, I believe, next Wednesday. Every auction starts at 35 cents, regardless of the condition of the card. There is a link to my eBay store in the description box below. So again, if you're a Pokemon fan, well, today is the final day. Ash Ketchum is the main character in the anime, which is sad. So if you want some cards, want to throw your hat into the auction ring, my eBay store in the comment section, the description box below. J-Tunes Music. eBay's been my side hustle outside of YouTube for over 5 years now, so go support. But more to the point, the other reason I didn't do my review yesterday is because I didn't want to do my review without watching the episode with a laugh track. So yesterday afternoon, I did watch the episode with a laugh track. It made it a lot better. But let me put it this way. My score, regardless as to whether or not I watched the episode with a laugh track, my score would not be including the lack of the laugh track, because I'm pretty certain it was a editing error that went wrong, or editing error that was, placed in the episode, because Assisted Living did have a laugh track. And remember, I'm not reviewing that show because nobody watched my review. So, House of Payne, Like New Money. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. The reason it gets a 9 instead of a solid 10 is because of the fact that the only thing, not the laugh track, the only thing that was holding the episode back, in my opinion, was Curtis's storyline for the episode. And that was, trying to figure out what happened to the food truck, because he was under the impression somebody was trying to kill him. Now, on the one hand, this actually does fit within Curtis's character, but at the same time, it really doesn't add up whatsoever. Because from my recollection, as somebody reminded me, hey, Jeremy, this is one of the first times that, House of Payne picked up exactly where it left off, because the characters were wearing the same clothes. I'm not going to lie. I'm too damn lazy to go back and confirm this, but I'm just going to roll with it. I was thinking at the very least, maybe it was like the next day, but yeah, let's just assume, because I think Glow was wearing the same green shirt she was wearing when she came over to, tell Curtis about the fines and the food truck being, towed away and whatnot. So, yeah, that's something. That's a plus. I remember this. The food truck was said to have like a gas tank that had a leak. And Curtis, what did he do? Like, he knocked out the tow truck driver in an attempt to prevent his food truck from being towed away. He then was like, taking a wrench or something and like slamming it against the one of the boots on the tire of the food truck to get it off. And as a result, Malik was like, hey, what's all that racket? And then Calvin explained what was going on, or was it Ella? And Malik said, wait, he's, banging on the food truck when there's a leaky gas tank. And then Calvin's like, oh my God, pop. So he runs outside, and then we hear the explosion. But then it was explained that in regards to the explosion, it's because the wires attached to the battery in the food truck weren't properly installed. And I think Ella even said, Curtis, if you didn't move from the hood, if you're like one step close or 1 foot closer to the hood of the truck when it exploded, you wouldn't even be here right now. Which doesn't make sense to me whatsoever, because I mean, number one, I have no idea what tire of the food truck Curtis was trying to get the boot off of. If it was like a front tire or a back tire. But I was under the impression like, oh, what if Curtis is like, taking a metal object and he's just, banging it against the boot. And then some sparks flew up, and then those sparks kind of, collided with some of the fumes from a leaky gas tank, and then they ignited, causing the explosion. But apparently the food truck battery was installed incorrectly, which led to an explosion, which whatever. But yeah, so there's that aspect of it. And then there was really no build up to somebody trying to take out Curtis. It just felt a bit forced. Look, I know you needed to do something with the other characters, but it just felt like a weak B plot. I mean, if nothing else, this episode was truly the reunion episode. But hey, I really loved the storyline where you had Calvin Jr., who was suspended from school from fighting. We get a lot of name drops. I think Floyd was mentioned. Tracy called Calvin. Of course, we didn't hear her voice, but he was talking to Tracy. And, Calvin Jr. is staying at his dad's place because, he's suspended, so he's doing chores. And you have some interesting dynamics here. First you have Laura interacting with Calvin Jr. Then you have Miranda interacting with Calvin Jr. And yet again, Miranda tells Calvin a little bit about himself. And as a result, he's able to understand his son better, which yet again illustrates how, I mean, I'm not rooting for these two to get back together, but Miranda definitely, has an edge over Laura in terms of knowing Calvin, which makes sense because they were together way longer than him and Laura. But at the core, it turns out that he's lashing out due to not really being around his dad. And it seems like his mom is kind of ingrained in his mind that your daddy doesn't have time for you because he's too busy with his other family. So as a result, he feels kind of neglected. And Calvin, I love how we see both sides of this, where Miranda explains it to Calvin, and then his son tells him why he's acting the way he is. And then Calvin, he doesn't want to feel like he's the bad guy, because more often than not, Tracy, the only time he gets to spend with his son is when he's being a disciplinarian. And it's interesting to me because Tracy says, or I'm just, like I said, I'm guessing based off the episode, that Tracy has ingrained in her son's mind that Calvin doesn't have time for him because of his other family. But how much time does Tracy actually allow Calvin to spend with his son? So I really did like the dynamic there. And it was a pretty touching ending between the two. So hopefully we see more of Little Man as the season goes on. So that was pretty much the B plot, or technically, B plot. And then the rest of the episode, nothing much to talk about here. It's just the glory of seeing Jasmine, Janine, Jaden, Hayden, CJ, all, and Malik interacting. It was great. Hopefully we get more Janine in the season as it goes on. I know that Jasmine is in the next episode, and maybe a few more from what I can tell. But yeah, it was just great seeing them on screen. And the twins talked. They weren't just set dressing. They had lines of dialogue. It was just great seeing the dynamic. The fact that the twins kind of have a little twin thing going on that throws off their parents. Jasmine coming back, and you could tell that hug between China and Demetria was legit. Like, yeah, I haven't seen you since season 9. Give me a big hug. I mean, no, it just I have nothing else to say other than I had a big smile on my face. Even though the clip circulated on Monday, it was still good to see the cast interact on Wednesday night. Yeah, I would have loved to see Jasmine interacting with the twins. I mean, yes, we did see them when they went over to Curtis and Ella's house. It was a great scene, but just to see their the twins excited to see their sister, because she came home a couple of days early to surprise everybody. She had the new hair. Janine's looking fine with the locks and everything. It was good. It was really good. Yeah, no Lisa, that kind of sucked. But like I said, it was the first episode. I mean, you can only cram in so much into, 19 or 20 minutes. So hopefully we do get a Janine and Lisa scene at some point. And then, of course, Malik and Jasmine hugging it out. I think even her parents were like, oh, yeah, the twins miss you, but Malik missed you even more than them. So that was cool to see them interacting. And at the core, that was really it. I think one of my favorite bits of the episode was Curtis literally acting like the fans, asking Janine where she's been for all this time. Usually you're downtown or you're away at work. Where are you at? And then it's like the insinuation of, oh, there we go. Uncle Curtis thinks I'm, on that stuff again. And it was just cool to see that despite being gone for 2 whole seasons, nothing has changed. The cast chemistry is still there. Yeah, I know I've said things like I think Janine should have died or possibly recast the character, but that's only because her presence has truly been missed in the series for quite some time. And if she were to die in the whole airplane thing, it would have done a hell of a lot for the character growth of a lot of the cast. But it was truly good to see her back once again. So, with that being said, that's really all I have to say for this particular episode. I thought it was great, even better when I watched it with a laugh track. But the only thing holding it down was the whole Curtis trying to figure out who was trying to kill him. Oh yeah, also Flo did say that the homeowners HOA, they pretty much were dropping the fines against him, which I thought were stupid in the first place. So, thanks so much for tuning in. Next week looks good too. We get more Jasmine. And like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.